Suspended Ekurhuleni Deputy Police Chief Julius Mkhwanazi will continue with his testimony at the Madlanga Commission in Pretoria this morning. His testimony will be followed by that of suspended Police Minister Senzo Mchunu. Let's cross now to SABC News anchor Sakina Kamwendo and SABC News reporter Canny Maphanga for an update on what we can expect in, just under 25 minutes from now. Sakina.
That's right, Leanne. Just about 25 minutes, and Canny has already stepped into the chamber. I'm joined here by Mbeje, who's of course SABC News politics editor. Just to look at Senzo Mchunu, because we spent most of the morning reflecting on the testimony yesterday of Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi, the Deputy Chief of the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department. So, Mzwai, we saw earlier in the week, we saw Senzo Mchunu, you were here, and of course he's the Police Minister currently on special leave, and he has this time around brought a legal team, new legal team with him, and again it's clear that there's a new strategy at play here for Senzo Mchunu, and it seems that in the main it's about defining the role and the parameters, so to speak, in terms of what is your role as the political head and not getting involved in operational issues.
Absolutely, Sakina. In fact, right from the beginning, we were told that there are areas of operation that is not even going to touch on because it has nothing to do with him. And I think the strategy, I don't know whether it's new or it's a reworked strategy, is to basically tell you what is it that he is empowered to do from the policy point of view, and not necessarily the actual operations. So that's the opportunity that he was given, and I think he will just conclude some of the evidence, but then after that, so then it will be down to cross-examining. So far, it did appear to perhaps work, but as you and I know, at the moment it was still more him telling us how he is approaching it, how he orientated himself, and how he thought things should be done, looking at the new organogram and stuff like that. So the test for me is when he has done his part and then they are asking him questions. Yes, they may ask questions about what he has presented, but there are other issues which I think South Africans also will want a bit more clarity on. For example, the relationship with some of the key actors in this whole situation.
And that's going to be critical. You know, for example, Mkhwanazi has already appeared before this commission, and he's made certain concessions, and it's going to be interesting to see how Senzo Mchunu actually responds to that. But I thought already earlier in the week, some of the questions that were asked by the commissioners were quite instructive, speaking to the organogram and the new structure, and whether it was in place, you know, whether they were still working on the old structure, the whole issue of the consultation with the unions. And I thought that was quite interesting, how the minister meant to posit that, and, you know, how the commissioners were quizzing what was actually the state of play at the time.
Exactly. That's why I think his side would have been told and would have been completed sometime later today. And those questions, they will now, Sakina, be a bit more pointed, where they need clarity, so he will have to indicate why they had decided to do something from this point of view. And also, remember, the structure and some of what the minister relied on was from the office, from people who have been here, who perhaps may not have placed so much emphasis on that. So it would be interesting to see how he responds to the questions, because they will say to him, for example, I think it's the CFO or the HR head, so they will ask the question to say, she didn't place much emphasis on this, but you appear to put so much emphasis. So what's happening here?
The cost implication of the PKTT, but also he spoke about the NPKTT, and that was stated a few times, and I got myself wondering, what is the NPKTT?
Actually, that's, in fact, I'm even remembering when the minister appeared in Parliament, he has actually said, so when it was structured or formed, it was actually National Political Task Team. I think that's why he prefers to stick to the NPKTT. So it will be interesting to see really what's going to happen.
All right, PKTT, NPKTT, that is, of course, what we will be hearing later on today here at the Madlanga Commission. But, of course, kicking off within the next 20 minutes, and that will be the resumption of the evidence of Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi, who's, of course, the Deputy Chief of the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department. And later, after his testimony, they did say they did not want to disrupt what was meant to be today, which is, of course, the return of the Police Minister who's on special leave, Senzo Mchunu. With that, it's back to you and, of course, Canny Maphanga, our eyes and ears here at the Madlanga Commission throughout the day. It's back to you, Leanne.
Thanks so much, Sakina. Thank you very, very much to both of you for giving us those updates and really giving us some thorough analysis from what's happening there.